Content warning. The following video contains material that may be harmful or traumatizing to some audiences. Viewer discretion is advised.
Got you looking in the shadows, see it creep. We are the shadow, I should way too deep. Your face on the loose, hit list seal. We're fishing for the meal, just a scholar with a range of sound. We're in and the worst here, mother sound. Ain't mercy jacket. See ya, shovel, burning in that fire. Leave the kids alone, buried in the mire. Lock you up forever, pay for your sin. Wood chip awaits, this is the end you'll spin. Your lives unraveled, under our gaze. Brendan the caught lost a wicked maze. Your murder's unclear, society drained for the truly fear. Religion's feeling back, turns the walls closes my babe to black. See ya, shovel, burning in that fire. Leave the kids alone, buried in the mire. Lock you up forever, pay for your sin. Wood chip awaits, this is the end you'll spin. You won't ever escape. Justice like thunder, sealing your fate. Oh, warning to all our children, you'll not touch. Your downfall is here. It's the final cut. See ya, shovel, burning in that fire. Leave the kids alone, buried in the mire. Lock you up forever, pay for your sin. Wood chip awaits. This is the end you'll spin.
Just when you thought you could turn your back and walk away, the dark cloud of human indignity follows you. You have no choice but to turn and look it in the eye. It's the sex offender hit list.
So with those stunning allegations, the now former owner of Sycamore Brewing, a staple of Charlotte's craft beer scene, is at the scene of a major criminal case. Thanks for sticking with us here live at 5. I'm Jamie Bohl. Justin Brigham is accused of raping a child and breaking into a home in Stanley County. Police arrested him this morning, and news of this case has certainly quickly spread. WBTV's Ron Lee, he is live tonight at Sycamore Brewing's main location in South End. So Ron, how are regulars reacting to all this?
Jamie, shock and utter disbelief. I talked to a lot of people who say that they go there quite often, but they say after hearing the allegations, they will never go there again.
Yeah, it's disgusting and absolutely terrible.
Rob Dumais is a longtime patron of the Sycamore Brewery along the rail trail. The news of what allegedly happened isn't sitting well with him.
I'll tell you right now, I'm not coming back here. We used to come every Monday for half-off burgers. On Monday, I will not be coming back. Used to come here with my friends, will not be coming back. Investigators
in Stanley County say they rounded up the now former owner of Sycamore Brewing, Justin Brigham, and hit him with charges of statutory rape of a child, first-degree burglary, and indecent liberties with a child.
Definitely a shock.
Carter Burbay works around the area and has been to the Sycamore Brewery in the past. The news took him by surprise.
And pretty disturbing, too, to hear that. I guess you never really know.
Brigham faced a judge this morning and was issued a $10 million bond. At last check, he's still behind bars tonight.
One of our friends in our group chat sent the article.
Maggie Gillespie heard the news just as she was walking by the brewery.
Like a bad taste in my mouth. I don't want to support somewhere where the owners are involved in something like that.
The suspect's wife is reaching out online. In an Instagram post Thursday afternoon, Sarah Taylor writes, "I am devastated by the charges against Justin and the pain that he has inflicted on our family and others. Effective immediately, I am assuming full leadership of the company. Justin is divesting all of his interest and will have no further involvement. But in the minds of many, the damage has already been done."
I don't want to be associated with this place ever again.
The next court date for the suspect is scheduled for December 29th. We will, of course, have a crew in there and bring you the very latest on where we go from here. For now, in South Charlotte, I'm Ron Lake, WBTV, on your side.
All right, Ron.
Developing right now, 3 separate cases, multiple arrests, and now a warning from the sheriff. In just 48 hours, the Bexar County Sheriff's Office say they arrested several men accused in separate child sex crime cases.
Yeah, from producing child pornography to randomly exposing themselves, each accusation just as disturbing as the next. And investigators fear there could be more victims out there. So 47-year-old Cedric Wheeler was actually out on bond when he allegedly had a lot to tell an undercover officer on the dark web. According to investigators, he shared child pornography with the officer. And the sheriff says the pornography that was shared may have been of a victim he was already accused of sexually assaulting.
And the sheriff says Joel Garza was arrested on Wednesday. He says that someone saw what appeared to be an inappropriate picture of a child on Garza's phone and immediately called deputies. He's now behind bars.
And this man's alleged crime happened just before 6 Wednesday. The sheriff says 57-year-old Eduardo Mora followed a 12-year-old girl while he was driving. At one point, investigators say he got out and attempted to lure the girl closer and then started exposing himself. This happened off Talley Road on the west side. The sheriff says thankfully that girl was able to run away and get help.
New tonight, an upstate man already on the sex offender list is now being accused of having child sexual abuse material. Shiloh Gallivan was charged with 10 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. Anderson County deputies say he had material in his home pointing to the abuse of young girls. Back in 2017, he was arrested and charged with 2 counts of criminal sexual conduct with a minor. Those charges were dropped and he pleaded guilty to assault and battery. Gallivan was placed on the sex offender registry back in 2018.
The headlines can be disturbing. Suspects arrested for internet crimes against children.
Aurora police say nationwide tips on these cases have exploded since 2020, with some big recent arrests in the city. Your reporter in Aurora, Michael Abeda, is live tonight. So, Michael, why so many tips?
Well, it's because of a tip line that essentially gets data from known images of child exploitation from internet service providers and then provides that information to law enforcement. And Aurora Police says they have a lot more tips these days than they've ever seen.
There's no one more innocent in our society than children.
Aurora Police's Internet Crimes Against Children team has made 3 high-profile arrests in 1 month. Just last week, it was 52-year-old Michael Ray Lozano. He had several terabytes of exploitation content.
This is a dark corner of humanity.
Aurora Police Sergeant Joseph Sullivan's team has been busy working cases because of the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children cyber tip line. Essentially, once a predator transmits a known exploitative image of a child online, service providers flag it and send the internet users information to investigators. That's where APD's work begins.
We issue our search warrant, we go and seize all the devices, and while reviewing the devices, we find images and videos of children that the suspect knows and that live in our community that they've sexually assaulted.
Sullivan says the system is so good that they've seen an explosion of leads and therefore an explosion of cases and a backlog.
So the volume is hindering us.
He says the job can be taxing.
The work that we do is horrendous. The videos and the things that people are doing and keeping involving children is awful, but the glimmer of hope is the ability to arrest them and put them in jail and hold them accountable for exploiting children.
And he says his team needs help from the justice system because many of the people they arrest get out of prison. For example, Michael Lozano is already out on bond just 1 week after being arrested.
I understand the cost value. I understand the incarceration concepts. I understand that, but they're going to prey on our children.
And forgive my live shot, my light went out during that story. But Aurora Police says that in order to keep your family safe, you need to be the first line of defense. They say these predators are very good at finding weaknesses or something that your child may want, no matter how good of a parent you are. So they say to be involved in your kids' lives and be aware of what they're doing online. That includes not just social media, but what websites they're visiting and even who they're talking to when they're online gaming. in Aurora, Michael Abeta, covering Colorado First.
And we are grateful for all the APD is doing to protect those kids. Michael, thank you so much. Michael covers what's happening in neighborhoods across Aurora. You can reach out to him with your story ideas through his bio on cbscolorado.com. Call 303-863-TIPS or email your reporter at cbs.com.
Authorities in southern Illinois continue their search for a convicted sex offender who's on the run. Here's a look at 32-year-old Brent Fawcett and two very distinct and noticeable tattoos he has, one on the side of his neck and one on the back of his neck. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office reports Fawcett removed an electronic monitoring device and left his registered address back on December 2nd. He had been staying in Coelho, that's a village north of Christopher. If you know where he is, you're asked to contact the Franklin County Sheriff's Office.
Fort Wayne, Indiana. A Huntertown man accused of child exploitation and possession of child sexual abuse material was arrested Thursday. This is 44-year-old Nathan P. Ross, and he's facing 2 counts of each charge. In total, the charges carry a potential prison sentence of 29 years. Last week, Mr. Ross here allegedly communicated with an undercover officer on the app Sniffies, which is commonly used by men to set up anonymous meetings, according to the court records obtained by us here. He's accused of asking the officer if he would engage in sexual acts with a very, very young girl, and then sending the officer apparent child sexual abuse material. The next day, the officers took Ross into custody during a traffic stop, and he allegedly admitted to sending the photos and discussing someone sexually abusing a 5-year-old girl. Ross was arrested Thursday afternoon, and he's being held with no bail at the Allen County Jail where he belongs. See ya, Chomo.
Well, new tonight, the Shelby County Sheriff is responding to concerns about child predators. Neighbors have complained after several recent arrests in the county, all involving crimes against children.
Your reporter Lauren Harkson on your side with how the Sheriff's Office is able to find these criminals and put them in jail. Lauren?
Yeah, Steve, Brittany, these predators hide behind their devices, which is why the Shelby County Sheriff's Office created a computer forensics lab and a dedicated team to pursue these offenders. The sheriff tells me it's all to protect your children.
You don't want to see any of this mess. It's very gross. It's despicable.
A growing number of child predators arrested in the last year in Shelby County.
And out of those 91 tips, we arrested 17 people. So made that, and I think it was almost, 100 or so charges.
Shelby County Sheriff John Samaniego says that's more than the previous 2 years combined.
Over the 3-year period, we had over 240 charges made and arrested 31 people.
But how are they able to catch these predators? The sheriff calling his investigators hunters.
They go after it 100%.
He says 99% of their tips come from electronic service providers.
The National Center for Missing and Exploited Children have come up with a very good solution where they work with the electronic service providers, where they will actually give them tips. They will analyze the tips will be forwarded to the particular jurisdictions starting with the states.
Sheriff Samaniego says the Alabama Law Enforcement Agency will then get subpoenas and forward them to his office.
We will assign it to an investigator who will use all the legal means to effect the arrest, and working with the district attorney's office who prosecutes them.
But he says it takes a village to protect our most vulnerable.
Please be part of their life so that they can always feel comfortable with going to their parents or their other loved ones to question things that come up in life.
Now, the sheriff is encouraging you to monitor your children's social media platforms, adding anyone could fall victim to one of these crimes.
Breaking tonight, a Bedford man has been arrested for crimes against children. Gregory Johnson is facing 6 felony warrants, including rape, taking indecent liberties with a child, and forcible sodomy.
The West Virginia.
So we're going to start out with the case of Cedric Wheeler. Date of birth 7/21 of 78. He is 47 years of age. Cedric is currently under arrest for promotion of child pornography, possession, access, child pornography, sexual conduct. He was already known to us from a previous case, so I'll start with that previous case. Back this summer, we actually had occasion to make an arrest of Mr. Wheeler for continuous sexual abuse of a child. What we were able to at that point develop was that he had been engaging in sexual contact with a child that is now older, but our understanding is that he'd been abusing this child sexually from between the ages of between 2 and 4 to the point where she was 11 years of age. And this is a young child that he had access to basically on an almost daily basis. And so that child was removed from that situation. He was placed under arrest, and he is currently out on bond for that case. The reason that he's being rearrested is because here a couple days ago, we were actually contacted by an outside agency that had occasion to come into contact with Mr. Wheeler on a section of the dark web that an undercover officer from another agency had occasion to come into contact with him, and acting in a covert capacity actually began conversing with Wheeler. At that time, Wheeler exchanged photographs with this undercover officer, obviously thinking that this was a person that was like-minded, that had the same sexual interest in children, exchanged pornographic material of a child with this undercover officer. And this agency brought the information to us. We were able to continue to work on it. We already had him identified, and so we were able to go out earlier today, and we rearrested him out on Grossenbacher Road, which is far west Bexar County. We were able to take him into custody without incident and executed a search warrant at his home. Currently, he is upstairs talking to our investigators. As I mentioned earlier, we can either send you all video of him later if you'd like, or if you'd like to stick around, you'll be able to get video of him as well. Either way, we wanted to get you the information.
I want to tell you about a new grant giving Brooklyn Park Police powerful tools in the fight against child exploitation and sex trafficking.
Camaria Bray explains how it could speed up access to justice.
BCA data shows 207 Minnesota children were victimized this year through sexual assault and exploitation.
In some cases we've seen they're actually taking kids' faces and then having AI generate a nude body.
Sergeant Jake Tazinski with Brooklyn Park Police says a new $10,000 funding is helping investigators catch predators faster.
It's going to help us build out a high-powered forensic machine that can actually intake, image, and process all of the data from the suspect offenders and leverage that with a software that utilizes AI technology to actually identify some of these child sex abuse material images and videos.
He says as a small department, they're limited in capabilities and have to outsource data to state and federal partners.
And how does that make the process faster compared to what you all have right now?
So sometimes the turnaround can be months and even up to a year sometimes. With this, having it in-house, we can turn months and years into days or a week.
Most of the funding making that happen comes from nonprofit organization Our Rescue, which says the need is urgent nationwide.
There is no doubt that crimes of exploitation against children are on the rise.
Those victims, what are like the age ranges that you see a lot?
Yeah, I mean, it's a horrific and heinous crime. We see child victims in the months old, unfortunately, and all the way up to and through early adulthood.
In August, Brooklyn Park school counselor Jason Polzin was charged, accused of filming a student at school and photoshopping the images into criminal sexual abuse material. Police say even one case is too many.
You can't undo it. We can't take it back, but at least we know we can give them some semblance of closure and some prevention for anybody else.
He says they expect to have that new technology by the end of January. In Brooklyn Park, Camaria Bray, 508 is News.
In our area. Attorney General Liz Murrow claims special agents in office were harassed and chased through neighborhoods in New Orleans while trying to arrest this Chinese national. The 29-year-old is accused of owning child pornography. Apparently, the agents trying to arrest him were threatened, followed, honked, and flipped off. Well,
A former elementary school teacher who now performs as Santa for photographs and area events has been arrested on charges of having and sharing child sexual abuse materials on the internet. Law enforcement officials in Mercer County, New Jersey announced Monday that Mark Polino, the 64-year-old of Hamilton Township, has been arrested and charged with possession and distribution of child sexual abuse materials, as well as endangering the welfare of a child. So according to the police there, an investigation into Polino began on December 4th of 2025 after detectives were alerted to an individual allegedly uploading these images of child sexual abuse material at a home in Hamilton Township. Officials said that an investigation determined that Polino here had said to be that person involved in this incident. They also stated Polino identified himself online as a recently retired elementary school teacher in the Hamilton Township School District, and he now allegedly performs as Santa for pictures and private corporate organizational events. Police said that because of his potential to engage with young children in his performances as Santa, investigators worked around the clock to obtain a search warrant for Polino's home. And of course, during that search warrant, they found, multiple items of evidentiary value. While Polino was taken into custody without incident. And following his arrest, prosecutors said that they filed a motion to detain him without bond pending trial. See ya, Chomo.
A Lake Charles sex offender is now accused of possessing child porn. The Calcasieu Parish Sheriff's Office says 37-year-old Daniel Broussard had child sexual abuse material on his phone, including some that appeared to be AI generated. Deputies say Broussard was living in a local halfway house, serving a 40-year federal sentence from a 2011 conviction for trying to coerce a minor to engage in criminal sexual acts. Now Broussard faces new charges of unlawful deep fakes and pornography involving juveniles.
A convicted sex offender has been sentenced in Forest County to 30 years in prison for 2 counts of touching a child for lustful purposes. 47-year-old Osborne Edwards was found guilty on September 25th. District Attorney Lynn Carter says Edwards was previously convicted of sex crimes by the U.S. Army in 2010, served time, and later registered as a sex offender in Forest County. Prosecutors say Edwards gained access to 2 young girls who later testified against him.
Tonight, Cornelius police say a man is facing charges in a child exploitation case. Officers arrested 28-year-old Aaron Schaller yesterday after a cyber tip revealed activity on his electronics linked to child sexual abuse material. Schaller is being held on a $500,000 bond tonight.
A sex offender who was ordered to return to Cuba back in 2021 has been arrested by the Butler County Sheriff's Office over the weekend. 39-year-old Magdiel Rodriguez was convicted on sexual battery charges back in 2017. He's been serving probation since he was released in 2021. Deputies say he was arrested after they found he listed a fake address with the parole board and the state's sex offender registry.
And we begin with a disturbing arrest that's rocking an East Point elementary school. Welcome to 7 News Detroit at 6. I'm Mike Duffy. An educator at Pleasant View Elementary School is on administrative leave, accused of possessing and transporting child pornography. Federal agents arrested Martin Wachowski at the U.S.-Canadian border in Vermont. He has since been released with supervision to a home in Royal Oak. 7 News Detroit obtained a criminal report that shows what started with a routine records check quickly escalated when border agents uncovered explicit images on his phone. Tonight, 7 News Detroit reporter Ruta Olsonida is listening to parents about their concerns and has the response from the school district.
Mr. Wiskowski, or Mr. Waz, as some parents and students called him, was taken into custody last week. But he worked here at Pleasant View Elementary for 3 school years before these allegations came to light.
3 years and nobody knows this stuff?
Parents and guardians of students at Pleasant View Elementary in East Point are disturbed after they learned a 4th grade teacher was arrested and charged with possessing and transporting child pornography.
It's awful. It's scary. It's, what do? You leave your kids, you think they're in good hands, and then you find out that a predator is in the school.
According to this federal criminal complaint we obtained, Martin Wiskowski was attempting to cross the border from Canada back into the U.S. in Vermont last Wednesday. At his routine screening by officers, his vehicle was flagged for being an exact match for a law enforcement inquiry into him allegedly enticing a minor. So a secondary search was done, which included destroyed his phone. It was there that Homeland Security officers say they found disturbing photos and videos of minors, some as young as toddlers, being involved in sexual acts. During the interview process, attorneys say the 38-year-old teacher also admitted to filming a 12-year-old that asked to use his restroom at his Royal Oak residence. Parents and guardians wonder if there was any of that going on inside the school as well.
And did he walk any of the kids to the bathroom? You know, you got to think about this stuff now.
Wiskowski was taken into custody but was released by a judge. He's now staying with his father in Royal Oak under tight bond restrictions that include location monitoring and no contact with minors. Some parents that did not want to be on camera say he was involved in the robotics club at school and often spent time with students outside the classroom. Earl Glenn says his daughter had Mr. Waz as a teacher and some hard conversations had to be had.
I talked to my daughter all yesterday about it, so I just told her about people like that.
East Point Community Schools released a statement regarding the teacher's arrest, saying they're fully cooperating with the investigation, that Mr. Wiskowski is now on administrative leave, and that, quote, the individual is presumed innocent unless and until proven guilty. However, the safety and well-being of our students is our highest priority.
Well, yeah, I hope he doesn't come back ever.
In East Point, I'm Ruta Olsen, 7 News, Detroit.
All right, Ruta, thank you.
Anne Arundel County, Maryland. An Annapolis man has been arrested for sexually soliciting a minor, according to the Maryland State Police. Officials announced on December 12th that Sean Livingston, this 38-year-old chomo, is charged with sexual solicitation of a minor and knowingly permitting sexual solicitation of a minor. In April this year, police began investigating a child sexual abuse material purchasing operation. While investigating, authorities learned that Livingston was identified as someone who was sexually soliciting that minor. And as a result, troopers from the Maryland State Police Child Exploitation Unit, along with the Anne Arundel Police Department, arrested Livingston at his residence in Annapolis. Livingston was transported to the Anne Arundel County Detention Center, where he is being held without bond.
This next story is a tough one to report and one to hear, but it is something investigators say all parents need to know about. A new disturbing trend targeting kids online for sexual exploitation and even extortion. The FBI tells the News 4 I-Team every one of their offices across the country is now involved with investigating these cases. As Tracy Wilkins found, predators are going after vulnerable kids, pushing them to harm themselves. A warning, some of these details in this report are disturbing.
On a daily basis, thousands of tips pour into the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children's cyber tip line.
We receive between 50 to 75,000 reports each and every day.
This year, analysts say they've seen a sharp increase in new and disturbing crimes targeting kids on the internet.
It's very critical that we identify the reports in which a child is at risk right now, so those can be appropriately prioritized and expeditiously referred to law enforcement.
Including from violent online groups befriending children through publicly available messaging platforms and gaming sites, enticing them to harm themselves or others. They call it sadistic online exploitation. Director Fallon McNulty says in the first 9 months of this year, they've already tracked more than 2,000 reports.
This is perversion like I've never seen.
D.C.'s U.S. Attorney Janine Pirro says her team has been tracking cases too.
It's a child exploitation enterprise where a group is joined with a common goal of basically destroying young children.
Her office brought charges against 2 men they say were leaders in the 764 network. The FBI has labeled 764 a nihilist, violent extremist criminal organization and says it got its name from the first 3 numbers of the zip code in Texas where it started before spreading around the globe. The FBI tells the I-Team it is actively investigating more than 350 people tied to the group. According to the D.C. indictment, the defendants are accused of teaching other prospective 764 members, some here in the district, how to groom minors to engage in acts of violence. Most details are too graphic to mention, but they include having children record or live stream self-mutilation, participate in sexual acts, or harm animals.
They're having children pour bleach on their arms and then light their arms on fire.
All for the purpose of gaining notoriety within the network. The indictment says 764 members share a guide with instructions on extortion, blackmailing victims to create content, threatening to release images to family and friends if they don't. That included a minor in Maryland, according to the indictment.
They work on the most vulnerable. They find the ones who are lonely, who don't have a family or a strong family, who are alone after school, and they use extortion as a form of discipline to little girls who might not have a father at home.
One of the named defendants, Prasant Napal, pleaded not guilty. News 4 reached out to his attorney for any comment, but did not hear back.
This defendant right now that we've got in D.C. is facing life in prison if he is found guilty of the crimes within which we include in our indictment. These are horrific acts.
Pirro says the second defendant, a U.S. citizen, resides in Greece. He has not been extradited, but she says faces charges there. An attorney is not listed for him. According to data from the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, most victims in these types of cases, 75%, are 14 to 17 years old, 21%, 11 to 13. Pirro says all parents need to talk with their kids about this threat and be aware of what they're doing online.
Do they keep me up at night? Some do. They would keep any human being up at night if that human being were normal. But when you do the work that we do, we deal with the lowest of the low.
Last month, a federal grand jury indicted a 20-year-old Maryland man for alleged crimes against 3 girls. Investigators say he had ties to 764. Counts included cyber stalking and sexual exploitation, coercion, and enticement of a child. If convicted, he could face a minimum sentence of 15 years and a maximum of 30, according to the Maryland U.S. Attorney. This case was brought as part of Project Safe Childhood, a nationwide initiative to combat child sexual exploitation and abuse online. You can find more about that project by visiting our NBC Washington app. Click on Investigations. I'm Tracy Wilkins for the News 4i team.
The FBI says parents should monitor their kids' online activities. Also look for fresh cuts or bruises or sudden behavior and appearance changes, including wearing long sleeves or pants in unusual circumstances, such as warm weather.
A former prison guard from Dixie County may spend decades in a federal prison. 35-year-old Devin Waldeck faces up to 30 years for 1 count of child sexual exploitation and up to 20 years in prison for distribution of child porn. Court records show prosecutors asked a judge not to release Waldeck before trial due to the seriousness of the charges and the unlikeliness he would comply with the court's orders. Waldeck was also ordered to have no contact with his wife and stepchildren.
And also new at 5, we are learning more about a man who was confronted while he was working at Christ Hospital by a group that targets online child predators.
Yeah, this video shows Benjamin Naylor being arrested by Cincinnati police outside of Christ Hospital, and a spokesperson says Naylor was terminated as soon as they learned of his arrest.
In an interview you'll only hear right here on Fox 19 now, Alexis Martin speaks with the group that got Benjamin Naylor to admit to his crimes and call police.
Naylor's in jail behind me right now with no bond. Now, this all came to be because this group that tracks online predators identified him as someone who might be trading child porn on Reddit, so they drove up from Texas to confront him. Now, I will warn you, before you watch this story, some viewers might find it disturbing.
What? Children performing sex acts, basically.
Okay, so child porn?
Yeah.
Benjamin just admits right outside of his job that he's been trading child pornography as young as infants and toddlers.
You just saw part of the Predator Poachers live stream as they confronted Benjamin Naylor outside of his now former job at Christ Hospital, where he worked as a scheduler. Alex Rosen, the head of Predator Poachers, says they work to find people who may be predators, try and get proof, and then call police. He says Naylor was messaging one of the group's underage decoys. Rosen says some of Naylor's social media posts showed signs he was trading child pornography. Rosen's group found where Naylor worked and confronted him.
And I told the front desk lady that I have a Secret Santa package for Benjamin Naylor. And in that package was, of course, his chat logs to what he thought was an underage boy.
The interaction in the video is peaceful. Rosen live streams as Naylor admits gruesome details of what he watches.
I know who you are.
Okay.
I've seen your content. Now that you guys are here, Yeah, I'm willing to drop everything.
Rosen says they will help him permanently delete the videos, and Naylor puts the phone in their car. Rosen keeps Naylor talking until police arrive.
But basically, is there child porn on your phone to get rid of? Yes. Okay.
Rosen has Naylor confirm in front of police that the group never touched the phone, so there's no question that whatever police find, Naylor put on the phone himself. We've covered previous stories in the tri-state where vigilante groups target alleged predators like this. Police and prosecutors have warned against this activity, saying it puts people in danger and could ruin an investigation. Rosen disagrees, saying they've helped in over 150 arrests this year and in 6 years have helped police in all 50 states.
There is just too many of these predators there to rely on just one entity to get them all. Judges and prosecutors agree on plea deals that are way too light for them. And I think we need harsher consequences.
Naylor is scheduled to return to court for a second bond hearing on Friday at 9 a.m. unless he is indicted first. This is something we're going to continue to cover and update you as soon as we get any new information. Reporting downtown with photojournalist Damaris Evans, I'm Alexis Martin, Fox 19 Now.
On your corner in Harford County tonight is a former detective in the Sheriff's Department has pleaded guilty to sexual exploitation of 2 children. 50-year-old Ryan Hall was named in a federal indictment a little bit earlier this year, accused of sexually abusing the children for years. Officials say Hall installed cameras to create child sex abuse materials. He was a former domestic violence detective, serving nearly 30 years with the Sheriff's Office. His sentencing now set for March. Hall is facing a mandatory minimum sentence of 15 years in federal prison for each count.
Tonight, a former Fort Jackson soldier has been sentenced to federal prison for possessing child sexual abuse materials. He's 35-year-old Matthew Valkenburg. Authorities say Valkenburg started uploading the materials some 2 years ago while stationed in Colorado. After he transferred to Fort Jackson, Army investigators got a search warrant and discovered the child sexual abuse materials inside his home. Valkenburg was sentenced to more than 7 years in prison. He also has to register as a sex offender for life.
Graves County, Kentucky. An investigation into the sharing of images of child sexual abuse material led to the arrest of this chomo here in Mayfield. According to the Kentucky State Police, 20-year-old Cole S. Farthing was arrested in connection with an undercover Internet Crimes Against Children's investigation. He was arrested after those investigators searched his house in Mayfield on Thursday, December 11th. And during that search, detectives said they found equipment Farthing reportedly used to share these images of child sexual exploitation online. The Kentucky State Police said Farthing was booked into the Graves County Detention Center and charged with 2 counts of distribution of matter portraying a minor in a sexual performance under 12 years old. Those are both Class B felonies, which are punishable by 10 to 20 years. And he's also charged with 6 counts of procuring and promoting the use of a minor by electronic means, which are Class C felonies punishable by 5 to 10 years each.
Fox 13 is on breaking news at midday. An inmate back in cuffs after he was mistakenly released. Now, this is the second time in 4 months a violent offender sentenced to prison was mistakenly released from the Shelby County Jail. Thank you for joining us. I'm Chelsea Chandler. That video you just saw was of Cameron Brooks getting rearrested. Brooks pleaded guilty Tuesday to rape and aggravated assault as a vulnerable adult. Now, he was sentenced to 11 years in prison and then released yesterday morning. Fox 13 investigative reporter Kayla Solomon joins us live from 201 Poplar, where he was taken back into custody just about an hour ago. Kayla.
Yeah, Chelsea, it's been a very hectic morning. Now, we know Cameron Brooks was let out yesterday morning. The sheriff's office says it was due to a clerical error with the county's IT department, but he turned himself in this morning. And of course, that video is exactly when it happened, how it happened, and how it all played out. Now, as you mentioned, Brooks took a plea deal on Tuesday, and less than 24 hours later, he was released by what is called that clerical error, and it was a mistaken release on his part. But his mother, while he was taken into custody, she was pushed by a deputy, and that's also captured on video. And she gave me her reaction to not only his release, but also how his custody, him being brought back into custody, played out this morning.
He already knew it was a mistake. He told them it was a mistake. They made him get up. They made him get dressed. Y'all processed him out. Y'all fingerprinted him out. Y'all gave him his clothes. We did full cooperation. To where now, when we get here, it's bum rush. It's assault. And it don't even take that. You don't have to shame a person. He ain't did nothing wrong. He came here willingly. And they slammed him like that.
And of course, now he is back into custody a little over 24 hours before he was released. But today, the goal is to get more answers from the sheriff's office. So I've already put out some emails and phone calls to both the sheriff's office as well as Mayor Harris's office, since the sheriff's office put the blame on the IT department for the county. And we're also digging deeper into exactly how this could have happened for the second time in 4 months. I'll have those answers coming up tonight on Fox 13 News at 5 and 6. Chelsea?
That must have been wild to see unfold. That is Fox 13's Kayla Solomon reporting. Thanks.
Indiana State Police say a Gibson County social worker was arrested for child seduction. 30-year-old Mariah Lineman, a Youth First social worker, was reported to have had sexual relations with a Princeton High School student. They say an investigation found multiple inappropriate text messages and a record of video calls. Police say she was taken to the Gibson County.
At 6 tonight, deputies arrested 2 more people in connection to a Jefferson County investigation of aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor. Take a look at your screen. The investigation revealing more than 900 images of child pornography. Last month, Jefferson County Sheriff's deputies arrested Cody Testerson. They previously charged him with aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor, and now he faces additional charges, including aggravated rape of a child and especially aggravated sexual exploitation of a minor. That's after authorities say they found video involving the 30-year-old and another woman, Kimberly Faulkner. The investigation also revealing that Leah Stark was in possession of sexual abuse material involving children. Stark now facing charges of possession of child sexual abuse material. Faulkner facing 2 charges, including aggravated rape of a child, all 3 under guard at the Jefferson County Detention Center.
Investigators in the East Bay are linking a child porn scandal to a longtime Lawrence Lab worker. Police say a celebrated researcher with the Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory has been arrested on charges of possessing child pornography. 86-year-old William Colby reportedly admitted to investigators that he'd been downloading the material on work and home computers for 30 years. The case against Colby began in 2024 when the CHP raided his Albany home as they investigated networks where child porn was being shared. That's when he allegedly told officers there was more at his Berkeley workstation. Police say they found hundreds of thousands of images. In all, prosecutors filed charges against Colby this week.
We're going to head over to Warrensburg, Missouri. We've got a 20-year-old Warrensburg man who's facing felony charges after an investigation into the online possession of child sexual abuse material. The Warrensburg Police Department arrested Noah McLean Rogers after receiving a tip shared through the Western Missouri Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force. Rogers is charged with possession of child sexual abuse materials and promotion of child sexual abuse materials. He's currently being held in the Johnson County, Missouri jail on a $75,000 cash-only bond. See ya, Chomo.
A man is back in jail tonight facing child abuse charges for the second time in Levy County. 42-year-old William Warner was arrested yesterday in Morriston. 2 years ago, he was put behind bars for locking several children in a hot wooden box. He was let go on supervised parole, but Levy County deputies got word that Warner was sexually abusing children. He was arrested and is being held without bond.
One of the big questions tonight, what was a sex offender from another state doing at a cheerleading competition at a Livingston County high school? Good Thursday evening, I'm Tyler Lopez. That tournament in Pontiac was held over the weekend. Some adults and their kids noticed something suspicious and acted. Timothy Jenkins was arrested in part thanks to the kids. The Mayer brothers, 11 and 9 years old, were watching that cheer tournament with their dad when they say he noticed this man. He asked the boys to walk behind him to get a better look at what he was doing with his camera. Police say he was taking very close pictures with a zoom lens.
So me, my friend, and Briar went over there and sat behind him, and he was taking inappropriate pictures of young female women.
And then we got up and acted like
we were going to go get like food from the concessions, and we reported it to the people.
The boys say that some of their friends on the cheer squads thanked them for acting, making sure their photos didn't end up online. When confronted, police say Mr. Jenkins refused to show the photos that he had, along with several SD cards and other devices with him. He's on the sex offender registry in Wisconsin. Now he's in the Livingston County Jail.
Thank you, Peter. 2 upstate New York men are now facing decades in federal prison for child pornography crimes. New tonight, the I-Team is digging deeper into why almost nobody knew that each man was convicted of child porn crimes in state court years prior. And even the I-Team had to work through law enforcement sources to confirm that each is also a Level 1 registered sex offender. 2 federal child porn court cases ended in plea deals recently. The U.S. attorney saying a Saratoga County man named Jeffrey Hart is now facing 15 to 40 years in prison in one press release. In another release, an Onondaga County man named Kurt Dobler faces 10 to 20 years in federal prison. Both releases describe how each man was already convicted of child pornography crimes in New York State. Hart was convicted in 2017 in Saratoga County for possession of a sexual performance by a child. Dobler was convicted in Fulton County in 2023 for the same crime and received 10 years probation. With those convictions, it's fair to assume they would have to register as sex offenders, and they did. But if they were your neighbor in Onondaga, Saratoga, or any other New York county, you would have no way of finding out that they were Level 1 offenders. This is the reason why. New York State's online sex offender registry. It gives the public all the information the law allows us to currently have. Level 2 and Level 3 offenders are considered medium and high risk to reoffend. You can find their names where they live and see what they look like. Level 1 offenders, considered to be a lower risk to reoffend, are nowhere to be found here. We suspected both Hart and Dobler were Level 1 offenders.
To reach the sex offender registry, press 1.
So we called to see if we can confirm. But it's not that easy, including for journalists. We have a name, but we also need Social Security number, date of birth, or exact address that they last registered at, or their driver's license number. Despite more than 100 pages of court records in the federal filing system, none of those documents revealed Hart or Dobler's date of birth or address. None of the pages specifically identified either man as Level 1 offenders. Despite each man facing decades behind bars, the assistant U.S. attorney told us she could not give out personal information about the offenders. As journalists, we turn to our sources. Sheriff's offices in both Saratoga and Onondaga County confirmed for us that Hart and Dobler both were Level 1 sex offenders, meaning likely to reoffend. Yet, they're both heading off to long prison terms for more crimes regarding child pornography. 2 men, counties away from each other, with very similar stories ending in guilty pleas just days apart. Both convicted of child porn crimes in New York State. Both now admitting to new child pornography crimes in federal court. Both registered Level 1 sex offenders reoffended. Both men were arrested by the feds earlier this year, just like Level 1 sex offender Ryan Pontello of Onondaga County. You may recall our I-Team digging into Pontello's past and revealing he told authorities he had a problem because he was attracted to, quote, young girls. Pontello, authorities believe, was using his Level 1 status to hide in plain sight. He's now facing serious felony crimes, including sexual assault, and the victims are all young girls. Pontello's criminal case is still pending. He's pled not guilty. He remains in county jail tonight. After Pontello's case went public, Democrat Assemblywoman Pam Hunter of Syracuse said she was quickly working on legislation that calls for changes to the state's sex offender registry. At last check, she told us she hopes to introduce this in the new year when lawmakers are back in Albany.
A man is in jail after police got a tip about a social media account posting child porn. Unified Police say a social media company filed a tip to the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. Authorities found an IP address from Salt Lake County for that account. Police say they followed the address and arrested Spencer Croft, who they say admitted to posting the pictures online. We're told police searched Croft's home and found more than 1,500 pictures.
East
Baton Rouge deputies arrested a man accused of targeting children online. Stephen Soche is facing 86 counts of computer-aided solicitation of a minor and more than 60 counts of child sexual abuse materials. Deputies say half of the materials involve children under the age of 13. He's booked into the East Baton Rouge Parish.
We're going to head over to Texas here. A 32-year-old Crandall man who previously worked as a teacher and coach in Mesquite schools was arrested last week on child grooming charges. The Mesquite Police Department announced this on Thursday. This is Mathan Lau, and he was taken into custody by the Mesquite Police Department investigators after an arrest warrant was obtained for the offense of child grooming. He's no longer booked into the jail for one reason or another, probably a stupidly low bond or something like that. This investigation began on October 2nd of this year when the police received a report of a possible child grooming case at the Christian Center of Mesquite, located in the 400 block of East Cartwright Road. Police didn't immediately release any details about the alleged offense, but during the subsequent investigation, authorities discovered Lau's previous access to children through his employment history in the Mesquite area. Lau had been employed as a teacher and coach at Pioneer Technology and Arts Academy in Mesquite, Texas. Additionally, he served as a club volleyball coach for a team based out of Mesquite. Nice. Not.
A Pike County man was sentenced to more than 17 years in prison for his role in producing child sexual abuse material. According to his plea agreement, 54-year-old Lonnie James Maynard produced the material back in January. The agreement says on Maynard's phone there had been a Snapchat conversation in which he directed a child to send him sexually explicit photos.
A disturbing crime. Authorities in Orange County arrested a man with San Diego ties for child sex abuse. This is 39-year-old Cameron Taylor Heath. The OC Sheriff's Department arrested him for lewd acts with a child under 14. Investigators found Heath was involved in several community organizations. That includes Deed and Truth Ministries, a San Diego-based nonprofit he founded to help orphanages in Mexico. The Sheriff's Department believes there could be more victims because of his access to kids. Anyone with information is asked to call the department's Special Victims Detail. The number is right there on your screen. You can also call their Crime Stoppers line and remain anonymous at 855-TIP-OCCS.
34-year-old Jason Alex Candelaria of Maryland is accused of using Snapchat to lure an underage Lancaster County girl to his car, drive her here to the Peckway boat ramp, and sexually assault her. Candelaria has a Snapchat account that police were able to find with the username Ghost Received, and the 13-year-old victim says he added her as a friend back in October. According to police, Candelaria introduced himself as Alex and claimed to be a 16-year-old going to school in Maryland. Now, after these conversations, Candelaria ended up driving to the young girl's house and picking her up, to which police say the girl immediately noticed he did not look 16. Reports say Candelaria handed the girl a weed vape and asked if she wanted to go back to his house. When the girl said no, he drove her to the Peckway boat ramp, and police say the girl told them that Candelaria pulled up her shirt and began touching her. Police also say Candelaria forced the girl to make out with him, also putting his hand down her pants. Candelaria took the girl back home, and the 13-year-old told officers she immediately blocked him on Snapchat. Through investigation, police tracked down Candelaria's IP address, which traced him to be a sex offender out of the state of Maryland. They also found that he's involved in an open case out of York County, also luring another child into his car. Candelaria is now facing several charges, including unlawful contact with a minor and aggravated indecent assault. He's now awaiting a preliminary hearing. Live in Lancaster County, Bailey Martin, WGAL News 8.
A multi-agency undercover investigation leads to an arrest. The man on your screen, Antoine Watts, faces charges of electronic solicitation of a minor and transmitting obscene material to a child. Officers say Watts solicited sex through electronic means with an undercover officer posing as a 14-year-old. During conversations, they say Watts transmitted obscene material. We're told he traveled from Baldwin to Mobile County to meet with a person he thought was 14 years old to engage in sexual intercourse, and that's when he was arrested. For now, Watts is in the Baldwin County.
In other news, a Watertown man already serving 25 years to life will get even more time behind bars. 44-year-old Shane Kirkby was sentenced in June for charges including sexually assaulting a child. A bit before his trial, police additionally charged him with assault and multiple counts of child pornography. Those charges came during the investigation after Kirkby was accused of stabbing two men in Great Bend. A prosecutor says Kirkby even produced his own child porn by exploiting a local child. Kirkby made a virtual appearance in court today admitting to obscenity and assault. When sentenced in March, he is expected to draw another 7 years in prison.
Lieutenant Drew Matchin of the Alexander City Police Department says 44-year-old Donald Easley of Alexander City has been charged with 2 counts of distributing child sexual abuse material, 6 counts of possessing child sexual abuse material, and 1 count of possessing a controlled substance. Matchin says on December 1st, police got a tip from the Internet Crimes Against Children's Task Force that a person had been transmitting obscene material involving minors. Then a search warrant was executed at Easley's home by the police, and the State Bureau of Investigation and other officials who seized Easley's electronic devices. Easley was then taken to the Tallapoosa County Jail, where he awaits a bond hearing.
A North Mississippi man is facing multiple charges tonight following a child enticement investigation. Oxford police say 57-year-old Paul Patak is charged with possession of child pornography, 2 counts of enticement of a child to meet for sexual purposes, and grooming of a child. Police say they began investigating Patak back in November after receiving a tip. Investigators are currently analyzing digital evidence that was seized during a search of Patak's home.
State and local law enforcement announcing results today for Operation Firewall, an extensive multi-agency effort aimed at combating child sexual exploitation.
State police say more than 50 people were arrested over just 3 days across the state. Those suspects are facing charges for engaging in the possession, production, and sharing of child sexual abuse material, as well as child enticement and other alleged illegal activity. Both the Berkshire County and Northwestern District attorneys were at today's announcement in Framingham, during which we asked them whether Cheshire Police Chief Michael Alibozek was one of those arrested in the sting. The 53-year-old was taken into custody in the parking lot of Hoosac Valley Middle and High School Thursday night for allegedly soliciting for sex for a fee. Now, here was the DA's response to our question.
It's because it wasn't, he solicited for an adult, so he did not solicit for a child. He did meet this, tried thinking he was meeting this person at a high school, a junior high school parking lot. So it didn't get to that stage, but it was still a chief of police that was looking to pay for sex and doing human trafficking. So we've addressed that. He was being arraigned this morning, so he has been suspended. But again,
Former Chief Timothy Gardner has been appointed as an administrative consultant, while the town select board finds options for an interim chief.
Now to a shocking crime in Owensboro. Police have arrested a man for trafficking child sex dolls. A search warrant was served at 64-year-old Philip Basham's home on Westerfield Drive. Detectives say they seized several child sex dolls and other items that require further forensic analysis, which may lead to additional charges. Right now, Basham is charged with possessing a child sex doll, trafficking a child sex doll, and possession of marijuana.
Also in Anderson County, deputies say a man is behind bars facing several sexual abuse material charges. We are told 26-year-old Shiloh Christopher Galvin is a registered sex offender. Deputies say they found evidence showing the abuse material uploaded to his virtual storage. Deputies say this investigation began in September and Galvin was arrested last Thursday in Pelzer. We are told the Attorney General's office will prosecute this case.
Douglas County, Colorado. A teacher is accused of sexually assaulting a student who sought help from her for mental health issues. This is 28-year-old Teresa Whalen, and she was arrested and charged with sexual assault, internet exploitation of a child, and stalking. A student said they had been in an inappropriate sexual relationship with Waylon during the 23-24 school year, and this student was struggling with mental health issues and started spending time with Waylon after school in her office. Waylon is accused of sexually assaulting the student, and the two shared photos and communicated with Snapchat for over 14 months. Waylon also drove the student to and from school for most of that time, and the student's parents were unaware. According to the affidavit, the student ended the relationship with Waylon because they were interested in dating someone their own age, a classmate. Waylon allegedly became jealous of that student's new relationship, and the student reported feeling fearful and said the relationship with Waylon was traumatizing. Waylon admitted to being into a sexual relationship with the student and said that she was remorseful, but it added that she felt manipulated by the student because Waylon was trying to help the student with their mental health issues and therefore felt trapped in the relationship. And when that relationship ended, she would go by the student's house and use fake phone numbers to message the student. She's currently being held at the Douglas County Detention Facility and a measly $50,000 bond.
Dakota James Weniger of Sauk Center, Minnesota, has been charged with first-degree criminal sexual conduct, victim under 16. According to court documents, on December 8th, an officer took a complaint of sexual abuse. The Stearns County Elementary School child was transported to the Child Advocacy Center for a forensic interview. The child stated Weniger had allegedly committed sexual abuse against her on more than one occasion over different days. The charge of first-degree criminal sexual conduct with a victim under 16 carries a maximum sentence of 30 years in prison. I'm Neil Carlson reporting for iNews.tv.
New tonight, a Montezuma man was arrested this week and is facing multiple sexual abuse charges, including 5 counts of second-degree sexual abuse. The Poweshiek Sheriff's Office says 39-year-old Jacob Raymond Thompson was arrested following an investigation after a 10-year-old told Montezuma school staff she had been molested by Thompson. A search warrant obtained by Local 5 says she told a teacher she had been molested by him since the age of 4. Her 17-year-old sister was interviewed by authorities and said she had also been sexually abused by Thompson since she was 7 years old. The investigation is ongoing, and Thompson is being held at the Poweshiek County Jail.
An undercover sting targeting suspected child sex predators led to 7 arrests in Decatur.
Authorities say the operation has struck a blow against those seeking to exploit minors. News 19's investigative reporter Dallas Parker joins us live in the studio with information released by police. And we want to warn you that some of the images and pictures you're going to hear about is going to be disturbing, right?
That's right, Tamika. At least 7 individuals are now in custody after a coordinated law enforcement operation in Decatur aimed at stopping adults who use the internet to solicit sex with kids. Now, police say the arrest came after undercover officers posed as those underage children in what they called their home alone operation. And those arrested reportedly tried to meet what they believed were kids for illicit sexual activity. Decatur law enforcement officials say they launched the sting after receiving online tips about suspects attempting to arrange sexual encounters with kids. Over the course of the operation, officers made contact with multiple suspects, 7 of whom agreed to meet what they believed were the minors. Now, those arrested now face serious felony charges, and officials say they expect more arrests as the investigation continues. The 7 arrested include, but are not limited to, individuals from the Decatur area, but they now remain in custody under felony charges, including solicitation of a minor and attempted illicit sexual conduct with a child. Now, authorities say the arrests were the result of online chats and arranged meetups where suspects believed that they were actually talking to children online. Now, investigators warn the public this is a stark reminder that predators often lurk online under the guise of anonymity, but law enforcement can and will catch them. Now, if you or someone you know sees suspicious online behavior involving minors, contact your local police department or the national hotline for reporting child exploitation. You can find that on our website, WHNT.com.
Dallas, thank you.
A former Lincoln County teacher and registered sex offender is accused of training juvenile employees at a Mooresville business. Police say 32-year-old Britton Nichols had been convicted in 2023 on 5 counts of indecent liberties with a student. Officers say they were tipped off last week that Nichols was working with the juveniles at the Mooresville business. They arrested him last Friday on a charge of felony sex offender supervision of a child. Nichols is free on a $25,000 bond.
Queen City News Plus. Just search Queen City News on your smart TV's app store.
Agreeing to meet a child on Snapchat. I'm your Orange County community correspondent, Troy Campbell, and we're outside the Orange County jail where the 20-year-old suspect remains locked up. According to detectives, he was thinking he was meeting up with a child, but it was an undercover detective. We've discovered it wasn't the first time he's been accused of a sex crime involving a child.
May I please have your name?
Jason. According to the Orange County Sheriff's Office, on Friday, an undercover detective went on Snapchat posing as a 12-year-old boy. Investigators say it wasn't long until he received a message from 20-year-old Jace Cogdell. The report states the two exchanged photos, with the detective using a, quote, age-regressed picture of himself to make him appear younger. Investigators say Cogdell also sent sexual-related messages. Eventually, detectives say Cogdell agreed to drive from Clearwater to this shopping center off South Kirkman Road Sunday morning.
I'm going to order that you not use a computer or access the internet or any social media from any device, and that you have no contact with minors.
We've also uncovered these court documents from Maricopa County, Arizona. Now, according to these documents, it shows he was previously arrested in Arizona, accused of 10 counts of sexual exploitation of a minor. This taking place in September of 2023. Now, records also show he then pleaded not guilty and is awaiting trial. That's set to take place in February. Now, court records also show in September, he requested the judge allow him to travel between Arizona and Florida.
Please follow the officer out the blue door.
And so parents really need to be aware that those harms are happening across the Snapchat platform.
Mark Berkman is the CEO for the Organization for Social Media Safety. He says it's concerning Cogdell was able to communicate on Snapchat's platform. It just shows a message to parents that, hey, unfortunately, those predators are out there.
Well, it's a message to parents. It's also another message that the platforms are not taking our children's safety seriously. And so why can an adult, especially an adult that's waiting trial on sexual predation crimes, why can that adult connect with a 12-year-old child over Snapchat? That is a very real concern right there.
He also says AI and deepfake technology is being used to lure children.
Deepfake technology, so the ability to take someone's image and create a very realistic video, now with audio as well, is a very serious safety concern.
Now, we also called and left a message for the attorney listed on his Maricopa County case, but so far we haven't heard back. He remains here at the Orange County Jail on a $25,000 bond. In Orange County, I'm your community correspondent, Troy Campbell, News 6.
Tonight on First Coast News, our exclusive look inside a world that most parents never see. The dark world of child sex predators. Jeannie Blaylock is taking you into an undercover sting operation where a local sheriff says men come out of the woodwork looking to meet local children for sex.
Tonight, not just the arrest, but the playbook. A convicted offender shows us the code words and psychology he used to groom what he thought was a 14-year-old girl. And why put this man on the news? I got his name from a detective and a state attorney to help parents protect their children. So before you say this could never happen to my child, watch how these guys really operate. Operation Deviant Nightfall.
Keep on backing up. Hey, don't turn around.
Operation Stuffed Animals.
They were just coming out of the woodwork, just one after the other.
Hands up! Slowly open the driver door!
Just in the last 2 sting operations this year,
I have no idea what's going on.
the Nassau County Sheriff's Office has arrested 31 men. One is Willie Wright.
My son is in here.
According to Detective Josh Carter, Wright is a preacher who showed up with his son.
What's going on?
The child admitted that the father gave him medication, presumably to be asleep while
he has sex with this child here in our community.
Wow, this is embarrassing.
Another Christopher James Esparza. According to the arrest warrant, he thought he was meeting a 14-year-old for sex. Esparza asked the child on the Grindr app if he wanted to be a bottom, a slang sexual term. And the arrest warrant says he was found with meth, marijuana, and condoms.
They're scumbags. They're the worst of our society. To prey on children for sexual acts. They're sick. They're sick.
This is not a game. You need to understand that.
In just hours, these undercover detectives start their arrest. It doesn't take long. And what does that say?
That says that there's plenty of them out there that are doing these crimes.
Arrest after arrest. Detectives Carter and Charlie Lucas tell me they want parents to wake up to see how these guys get their victims. And so Sheriff Bill Lieber gives me permission.
This is the first time we have.
It is the first time he allows a TV reporter to come watch a sting from the inside. We can't show you all the complexities of the sting operation, but I watched law enforcement chatting online, posing as young girls or boys. And so I'm asking these undercover detectives, how do these conversations get started? Well, for example, this gets posted. And then the sexual deviant, the predator, says, "Oh, I'm sorry you've had a bad day," and the conversation goes from there. The words sound innocent, but some of these guys use tricks. These cuffs aren't safe. You're watching the arrest of Charles McPhail in 2022 in Nassau County, charged with 2 felonies, traveling to meet a minor and lewd solicitation of a child by computer. McPhail still on supervised probation. Some people would say, I can't believe he's sitting down here talking about this.
Yeah.
Like why?
Just to show that people do change.
In the arrest report, the girl told him she was 14. Actually, she was an adult undercover. And it says McPhail told her he would use a condom. His arrest outside this house, McPhail thought he was meeting up with a young girl. Instead, it was police. I hear parents say, well, I've warned my kids, they know. What would you tell them?
Oh, man.
He says, be blunt.
Yeah, you may have a conversation once or twice.
But he says that's not enough. You need to talk more with your children. Do your kids know the code words? McPhail says he never used the word sex. That tips off police, he says. Instead, he'd say a visit or a meeting.
I guess just like hang out. I'll come see you, I want to visit you. So if you're seeing these kind of words, then yes, then it's not innocent.
And pay attention to this. He used some psychology.
You're really covertly conditioning them to lower their guard.
He gives them a choice, as if they have control.
Hey, if you don't want to do this, you don't have to do this. And that was something that I said.
You could say that's pretty tricky. That's pretty manipulative.
Oh, absolutely.
And at the sting operation, law enforcement tells me they see these exact tricks. Jamie Davis is an intelligence analyst with Internet Crimes Against Children.
These guys are targeting what kids want. They want to feel validated. They want to feel important. They want some extra cash.
And when your child says, but this guy says nice things to me, or,
oh, they said I'm more mature. No, you're an easy target.
So, do your kids know the tricks?
If your child is talking to strangers online, they need to stop.
And do they know the schemes? In some cases, the predators give kids free alcohol, free marijuana, and then they say, if you don't have sex with me, I'll tell your parents.
The kids were scared, and so, they have sex with a grown man, and 35 years old, and, they're 12, 13 years old.
Detective Lucas says, come on, parents, get real.
Lifelong police officer, I do not ever look at it, though it won't happen to my kid.
Now, experts have this advice. Promise your kids they aren't in any trouble with you. They can tell you everything and reassure them that you are here to help, no matter what they've already done. And tomorrow at 5:30, a local mom horrified when she discovered what was really inside this innocent-looking app. Looks like a calculator. Jeannie Blaylock, First Coast News, on your side.
Also breaking tonight, an Anderson County teacher who was originally accused of stalking a student and writing her love letters has now been sentenced. We have a photo for you. This is Dylan Dukes. Officials say he pleaded guilty to harassment first degree. Now, Dukes was a music teacher at Star Elementary School. Last year, investigators say Duke gave the 11-year-old victim more than 60 love letters, and they were in a personalized box for her to open during the summer. Officials also claim Dukes joined the child's church when he realized she'd no longer be at school. Deputies also claim Dukes has many pictures of the victim at his desk. The judge sentenced Dukes to 3 years in prison, suspended up to 5 years of probation. He must also attend mental health counseling, surrender his teaching certificate, and agree to a permanent restraining order with no contact with the victim.
Well, authorities in Natchez arrested a sex offender with 3 active warrants. Anthony Darnell Owens was wanted in Adams County for failing to register as a sex offender. Today, Adams County Sheriff's Office deputies arrested Owens as he got off a bus at the bus terminal on Wood Avenue. Back in 1991, he was convicted of aggravated criminal sexual assault in Cook County, Illinois.
This next story contains accusations of sex crimes involving children. We're telling you about it because the person accused is in a position of power, a city council member in War Acres. News 4's Sydney Batzloff has the new arrest video.
This is where War Acres city leaders appointed Jason Cole to represent Ward 4. But now, instead of sitting inside City Hall, he's in jail facing disturbing allegations involving children.
Having the nature of this with the children being in single digits especially, it's just disgusting to see reports like this. The fact that it's a person who is in a leadership role, either elected, appointed official, that makes it that much worse.
Police department, search warrant.
New police body camera footage captures the moment War Acres police served a search warrant and then handcuffed City Councilman Jason Cole on Monday. Cole represents Ward 4. He was appointed to the City Council in September. He's now facing multiple charges, including rape by instrumentation, indecent material shown to a minor, and 3 counts of child sexual abuse. The children involved were taken to the care center, where they shared their accounts of abuse with forensic interviewers.
It is recorded, and that recording is admissible in court as evidence. And so it's very, very good that we have these in the state of Oklahoma to ensure children receive justice.
But Joe Dorman with the Oklahoma Institute for Child Advocacy says there's a need for more centers.
We're certainly lacking resources across the state. State and federal funds combine, along with private fundraising for nonprofits. Centers like the Care Center.
Dorman says this story serves as a reminder to keep communication open with your children.
We have a lot of pedophiles, a lot of groomers out there that are committing bad acts and doing horrible things to children. The only way we find out about these is when the children open up or if something bad happens.
In War Acres, Sydney Batzloff, Oklahoma's News 4.
All right, thank you, Sydney. We requested comments from the other city council members in War Acres and the mayor. However, the police department tells us, quote, out of respect for the affected individuals and the integrity of the criminal justice system, the city has no further comment at this time. They add the Oklahoma County District Attorney has accepted this case for prosecution.
St. Charles, Illinois. Corey J. McDonald, 29-year-old of St. Charles, a convicted sex offender accused of sharing various images of child sexual abuse material, has been sentenced to 16 years in prison, the office of the Kane County Sheriff's Attorney said Monday. According to Kane County prosecutors, in June of 25, investigators learned that McDonald disseminated multiple videos depicting children under the age of 13 to a chat group on the internet messaging platform Kik. McDonald also failed to properly register his use of Kik, which violated the Sex Offender Registration Act. McDonald will receive credit for a mere 143 days out of that 16 years, and he's going to be sent to prison. See ya, Chomo.
When a child experiences trauma, they can be stripped of their ability to imagine.
But imagination is colors. All the colors. Imagination is freedom. And whatever you want it to be. But a child without imagination is not a child at all. Will you help defend our right to imagine?
Welcome to the hit list. You can't escape. Your face on the news. Don't mess with fate. Locked up in prison. Wood chipper running hot. Police on a mission. Hope you don't get caught. Silver bracelets tight. Get arrested tonight. In this endless fight. Can't hide from the light. Silver bracelets tight, get arrested tonight. In this endless fight, can't hide from the light. The choices are made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay. Lies and deception, caught in the storm. Future in question, nowhere left to run. Silver bracelets tight, get arrested tonight. In this endless fight, can't hide from the light. The choices you made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay. Oh yeah, no, no, yeah, yeah, yeah. The choices you made, heading one way. No turning back, this price to pay.
Say, excuse me, Judge. How many times do I need to show these videos until people become aware?
Multiple times.
One for a rainbow, one for Amanda.
Who you playing with, sweetie?
Amanda.
Huh? Oh, who are you?
I'm Amanda. I'm 6, and I love unicorns.
Sexual predators are seeking kids online.
We don't know Amanda.
Learn how to report abuse at end-violence.org/protect.
Now get in there!